I should have probably checked because that's why we're here. Let's get the sound going. Let's make sure that we're good. I'm assuming this is not good. That was a bad assumption on my part, man. Let me get this thing rolling. Hold up 1 second, Chad. Let me get some, give me a 1 if we sound good. I know this is random. We're going to get this thing rolling. I got to get myself on the screen. Give me 1 second. We'll get this rolling. I'm excited. This is going to be a good show. And this won't be too long. This isn't going to be like 3 hours. So this is going to be very, very reasonable. Very reasonable show. That's the goal. All right. Hour max. Probably not. Maybe 40 minutes. In and out. You know what I mean? So yeah, let me get the camera on. We sound good? And that's crazy. That's crazy. If you we're going to get into it. All right. We're here. We're live. This was not supposed to be a live stream. This was supposed to be a video, but I'm like, you know what? We're going to go live. I'm done messing with this. We're going to go live. Shout out to BetUS, sponsor of today's live stream, YouTube 150. That's the promo code. It's in the description. We are also going to have in the description the link for this sweatshirt. All right, look, man, I wanted to really show it off in a video, and I'm very disappointed that the video didn't happen. I wanted to get this out because I don't believe confidently that I'm going to be able to get a show out tomorrow like this. Jordy, supposed to go to bed. I'll try to make this thing not too long, okay? I want to talk about this game. We could talk some trade stuff, whatever set out to you guys from today, but man, like, yeah, the election's going on. Maybe it's a little bit of a distraction because you know how it is. You know how it is, man. Around these hours, it's kind of just, you're just waiting for things. You find out in the morning. I remember last election staying up, and it was like 2 a.m. I'm like, we don't know. But also, that's like the first time I really followed it. So, look, man, maybe I could take you guys on a little side quest here, and then you maybe go to sleep, and then you wake up, and bam, you'll find out all the answers you are waiting for. But yeah, shout out to Lions Nation Unite, man. They sent me this sweatshirt today, and dog, I was so hyped to get this, and I wanted to put it in the video and be like, yo, check this out. I'm gonna show it off. I'm gonna wear it on the round table. You saw St. Brown with the Green Bay Suck. Yes, sir. And they sent it to me, and it popped up at the door today. And when I opened that thing, I was like, no way, that's already here. I was so excited, man. So if you guys want one of these, I will get the link in the description. Let me do that before we get into this, and before we also give a shout out to BetUS here in a second, because we're gonna give them a shout out as well here in a sec. But let me get that right. But yeah, so why are we live? Real quick, just why are we live? We're live because this is supposed to be a video. So I had a video that I've been working on since I've been working on it all day in terms of getting, the clips and stuff. But this was supposed to be out like 8 o'clock. That was my hope. It did not happen. For the last 3 hours, I've been messing with the audio, trying to fix it. In reality, I probably should have just said scrap it and restart. But for whatever reason, I guess I was hard-headed. I'm like, I'm going to fix this thing. I don't need to restart. I have the video right here because it's like 45 minutes. So I just kept trying to fix the audio. Never got to the editing process. The audio still sounds whack. I can't post this. I'm like, I can't confidently post this because people are going to be like, what in the world is this? This is a disaster. So I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to just post a video just to post it, even though I put it out there and asked if you guys wanted it. So we're just going to go live, and we're going to basically do what I would have done in the video. I do want to throw this link in here real quick, and then we'll get this thing started. This should be the right link. Yeah, it should be. Okay. Let me drop that in there in case anybody wants to check them out. They got them on the shop. There's a lot of other stuff there, too. Some of my merch is on here, too, which is cool. I love to see the Lions win the Super Bowl. Me as well. Reynaldo. BetUS made a call and said, get a stream in. Well, hey, if they did, you know why we're here. You know what I mean? I don't got to say no. I'm playing. Hey, shout out to BetUS, though, bro. They be hooking us up, man. And if y'all don't know, a lot of the sweet graphics, side note, that's them. They hooked me up with a lot of the cool graphics. Well, you probably do know. My graphics usually look awful. I will say, though, I did make last week's, and I saw that one on Google Images, and I was like, okay, it's been a minute. It's been a minute since I've seen one of my images on there. That's been pretty good. Last election, 4 days. Bro, that's how it goes, man. That's how it goes. 100%. So, now I know. I'm like, all right, I'm not, it is what it is. Let that thing do its thing. It's like the trade deadline. You got to be patient. You know what I mean? And we got some big trades today. Super happy that Za'Darius one went down. I'm going to get these clips pulled up, and we're going to get right into this. But super happy Za'Darius officially went down. That happened. Honestly, it was weird because, we talked about a second move potentially. But after it kind of went down, there never really felt like there was any other buzz. The buzz really died with the edge position. We were live on Bleacher Report with our NFL Insider, and there was no real heat anywhere. Joseph Day, I thought would be a good person to move. The Titans didn't move off anybody, I don't think. I mean, they moved off Ernest a while back, but they didn't like the buzz felt like it completely died. It was like Atlanta wants an edge, but nothing really happened. It felt like when Arizona moved for Baron Browning yesterday, that was kind of it. I know that the market wasn't very. I'll say this: I didn't think the edge market was that deep. Just on a side note, like Ojulari was probably the top of the market, and again, to me, Ojulari wasn't like a knock out of the park, like a slam dunk. Oh, this guy's a needle mover for a team that really needs it. Like, he wasn't that to me. And he's also in a unique situation because he has an extra year on his contract. So it just felt like a very light group, where Arden Key kind of came on late and like, hey, maybe I have a case to be like, there was really no standout after Za'Darius. So I'm very glad they got Za'Darius done because once you got beyond Za'Darius, man, it felt like there was no, you know what I mean? There was no like, it was like, okay, maybe we could get something here. If we make this move, maybe we have something here. Outside of that, there was no like confidence, honestly, in like this guy for sure is going to make us a lot better. So I'm glad that we jumped on Za'Darius because to me, we got the best edge rusher on the board, I think, hands down. And, the Max Crosby, Myles Garrett stuff, it just because it didn't happen, we got the best player that was actually available. So I'm glad we jumped on that. We got that out of the way, and we basically took the best edge. I can understand it because I think that market was a little bit light. I think it was lighter than maybe what we thought, and I think desperation caused it to gain more buzz than what it legitimately was. That's kind of my take, but I could be wrong. But yeah, let's dive into this. So when I initially did this video, I did it like my normal all 22s where I kind of like show clips and stuff, but instead of making it like that, I wanted to make it quicker. So I kind of talked about things that stood out to me, and then I showed clips over top. So we'll do that in its own kind of way as we go through this. I'll show certain clips, point out a few things. They've actually worked better a little bit that we're live here because I can show stuff a little bit easier. But specifically, I want to talk about like, and if you guys got things you want to talk about, man, throw it in there. I wonder if Brad will start scouting practice squad guys. I think so. I mean, we picked up Oliver. That one doesn't really look like a hit to this point, to be honest with you. But I think so. I wouldn't be shocked if at some point we had another edge rusher, a veteran from somewhere. Would not be surprised, if we got close to the playoff time, we pick someone else up. But hopefully we get Pascal and those guys back because like I pointed this out in the video, but a lot of the big runs, not all, but a lot of the chunks that they really had kind of came back to the edge position and just the lack of bodies we had there. Like I appreciated Houston. That man played with a ton of effort. He was playing first, second, and third down. But to be honest, like we were limited. We were incredibly limited in this game with what we had. And certain plays, like we just didn't have an answer. Certain runs just pop because we would get blocked up by a tight end. And that's, taking nothing away from the Packers tight ends. But that's not supposed to happen. And you could just tell, like, okay, we're missing that. Like, we are really missing that guy. And a couple of times it got us. We easily saw it on, kind of their touchdown run. But one of their big runs, I have it in here. You'll see it as well. So we'll start from the jump here, man. I'll kind of roll through this. Let me pull this back a little bit. We'll start from the jump here. And again, I just saved plays that stuck out to me. That way I can highlight certain things. Do you think getting Smith benefits Houston? I definitely don't think it hurts. I mean, I think what it probably does for Houston, to be honest, is as long as Pascal comes back from the illness and he's healthy, it probably just regulates Houston more to kind of just a pure pass rush role again. Like if that is going to be his role, it probably just pushes him right back into that spot. But I don't think that's a bad thing for Houston because I don't think that's where he thrives at all. I appreciate that he took on that responsibility as the game kind of rolled on in this one, but that's definitely not his thing, especially like when he's not kind of in that Sam role. So if anything, I think it may minimize his role, but at the same time, it's probably a good thing. It's probably a good thing to not have him in those spots where he doesn't have the physical body type to excel in those spots. So I don't think it'll minimize his role, but I still think there's a potential opening for him to still be productive here because we didn't go, if we'd have made two moves, then I don't know, but having him around, making one move, I still think that he's going to have an opportunity to get occasional snaps. I think it'll just be much more specialist snaps, third down snaps. I know this Parker Essie got replaced by Shane. Yeah. And Shane, Parker Essie got let go. Shane has done this now for the last couple of weeks. He's been playing at that fullback role for us. We had him on a nice, I think, dig route he ran in this game. The ball didn't go that direction, but we used heavy personnel in this one. I'm kind of happy about it. Like, I'm not happy that Parker Essie got cut, but I'm kind of happy for Shane from the sense that, like, Shane Zylstra was a dog, man. He's always showing up for us. He's good in the preseason, showed a lot as a blocker, and every time in camp, he always stands out. But it was like, oh, Shane, because Shane didn't make the team, right? So I think that was like a surprise to a lot of people. I think it was to me as well. I thought at some point there, I was like, okay, Zilch is probably going to make this team, and he did it. But I'm kind of excited about it because I think he does add a lot more juice to the table. So if he can expand his role to a point where he can find a role that's not as the pass catcher and he could do other things, that's a huge benefit for the Lions because he's a better receiving threat than Brock Wright. Right, like he gives us a lot more juice than what we had with Parker Hesse and Brock Wright. So I love it. I personally love it. Hopefully he continues to prove himself there. That way we can continue to expand that role and he can have opportunities at times to then be a pass catcher for us because we know that's where he thrives. All right, I'll show some clips here. The first one I want to show, and the quality's kind of rough on some of these. It just exported weird. I don't know what was going on. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Like the whole thing was a joke. But I wanted to this first one. So Levi Onwuzurike, to me, has kind of been a guy that has been going under the radar a little bit. Like, first off, in this game, okay, a couple things. Number one, we said coming in, Aleem McNeil. Hey, Aleem, you got to cook, right? Like, we all kind of knew that, right? Like, edge position was incredibly depleted. Their interior, you got Elton Jenkins, who was struggling to snap it to Jordan Love. You have a rookie in Jordan Morgan, who struggled this season, and you got Sean Ryan at right guard. It was like, Aleem, you got to cook. Now, he's not out there on this play, but Aleem McNeil had 7 pressures. I marked him like 9 times with making an impact play on the quarterback. He did his thing. And now Aleem McNeil is sitting at 27 pressures on the season. He had 34 all of last season. Now he missed some time. But he's in a spot where, if he has another game just like this one, he's going to hit that number. He's going to blow by that number. He had 29 2 seasons ago. So he's going to knock that 34 pressure mark that he set last season, kind of his breakout year, out of the water. He's going to absolutely obliterate that number. And this was just another one of those. He's had like 3 of those games now this year. If you guys remember when Aleem kind of came on and it was like the Giants were best up in the interior and he just cooked them and it was like, oh man, Aleem could be really good. He's done that like 3 times now this season. He kind of did it against Dallas. He did it the next week, and now he did it again here against Green Bay. Like he definitely is bringing us a lot of juice, and we'll show him a little bit. But Levi's the other guy because Levi now has 23 pressures. He's went under the radar in a sense of this. He's been good both run and pass, and this role right here as a defensive end fits him really well. I love him in his 4-eye. I think it fits his size. I think it fits his build. And I think we're seeing, like, he shut down a screen in this game. I thought it was Liam. It was him that shut that down. You saw the awareness there. Levi has kind of, I think, at least in my opinion, he's kind of went under the radar a little bit, but he's been very consistently good for us. Like, he hasn't had like the game, I feel like, where he's went crazy, but he's been very consistent. He'll give you like 3 pressures in a game. He'll impact the quarterback. He'll play the run pretty well. He's not a liability there right now. He feels much more comfortable in his spot. So keep an eye on Levi as we continue to move forward because he's working towards a consistency that we've never seen out of Levi. Ever. And a lot of that's just because he hasn't been healthy. Shane, what's up, Shane? I see you. Boom. How you doing, man? Shane looked better than Mitchell in camp as well. Shane's always a dog, man. He's always a dog in the offseason. And then James didn't make the team either, right? Neither of them did. Parker Hesse did at the time. And it was kind of that battle between the two, right? But Shane was blocking. And it was like, that was the thing we never really were sure about. So it's cool that he's gotten that opportunity. I mean, we're not there at practices, but to have, I'm assuming they're making the decision on practice. If that is the case, to have a coaching staff that is willing to give guys opportunities to step into new roles, maybe that's the vision they come into the season with, maybe it's not, but to be able to take note of things like that as the season is going along, I think that says a lot. I think it's very easy to overlook, especially when you're winning, like, oh, this works. This is kind of the guy for this role, and that's that guy. That's Parker Hesse. It's very easy to kind of overlook like the small changes, like, Shane's actually doing a little bit better. He gives us a little bit more. Maybe we should make that change. Maybe we should give him a look. So I think that's hard to do at times during the season. It's easy to overlook those little things, and obviously they're not. I mean, watch here, though. Chris Smith had nose tackle. He wasn't perfect, but he stepped in this game. He's now on the 53-man roster. I think he's still on the 53-man roster. You also got Pat O'Connor, Muhammad. I mean, this defensive front's a disaster. It's not a disaster, but this is not what it's supposed to look like. But in this play in particular, got to give our man Chris Smith some credit. He handled Elton Jenkins at center, and watch Levi on the backside here. Doesn't get reached on the play, stays on top of it. He gets in on the tackle, and that's obviously a short run play. So just wanted to flash a little love as we get this thing going. After what the Jets did to the Texans O-line, if the Lions don't get at least 5 sacks. Yeah, and again, it's the guard position, right? It's the guard position that's a struggle over there. So, I mean, I guess it depends where their health is at with receiver, right? Because Stroud against the Jets, that dude was holding on to the ball way too long. Like, that was initial impression. I haven't dove into it yet, but there were a lot of times where it felt like he's like, dude, you have to get rid of the football, and he kind of wasn't. And he was like, let me extend the play a little bit. I think that probably changes. I mean, he's not going to have Stephon, but I don't know if they're going to Nico back or not. But if they can, if that's a possibility, and he does come back this game, that may speed up C.J. Stroud a little bit more. I could see that being the case, that he's just not as sure and as confident to just let it go. That's kind of felt like an issue, and they've really the last few weeks, like, I thought this was a Green Bay thing. Green Bay's got a good pass coverage, right? Don't get it twisted. They do. But this is now going on for a few weeks. Houston's passing offense has looked horrible, like absolutely dreadful. They have had no passing attack with these injuries. They've completely become reliant on Joe Mixon. So I'm with you. I'm curious to see where that gets to. This was the incomplete pass, and I really just put this in here because, we talked about this, like, schematically speaking. This was actually cover 0, and we did this. Who was this? I don't remember who this was against. I feel like it was a week or two ago, but we did basically the same thing where Kirby Joseph, I'm actually kind of blocking the screen here, but basically Kirby Joseph is matched up on their slot, their number 3 receiver. So they're manned up here, and he runs over and mans up the slot. And then they go cover 0, and they're actually going to bring the backer and drop the edge. Muhammad, not great coverage, but because of the blitz, and I think this is the best way to kind of demonstrate the flexibility. Like, watch Branch here. Watch Branch in coverage on Watson. Right? Like that transition, the way that he breaks on the dig route, that kind of flexibility is, I think, what has made us so tricky. And then, obviously, Meek's a really nice blitzer as well. I mean, that's great timing right there. We've seen that earlier this season get him into trouble where he kind of shows it early. So here he's going a little bit early, but he gets into it on the cadence. He's in a good spot here with the blitz, gets really good timing. And look, Love had the right read. Maybe if it's not wet, he makes this grab, but it's behind it because of the blitz, and he get off the field. I mean, that has been the Lions' like bread and butter defensively. Is they're really good in the red zone. Do we re-sign Levi? What do you think that deal might look like? I would say it's trending towards. I think they would re-sign him at this point. I feel like this is kind of with every free agent, but I think the issue is just obviously where that number goes. I mean, I was reading an article a day ago that was talking about what team needs were across the league, and Levi was mentioned at least for one team, maybe a couple of teams. It's like this could be someone that they would go after. I think Levi's going to have a real market. After what he does this season. The injury stuff always come back and hurt you, but say he gets through the season, hopefully, and he's pretty healthy. I think coming off of that season and his best season, which it will be, I'm going to assume he's going to have a pretty nice market. So he may have to take less to stay here, to be honest, because he won't be coming back as a starter likely. Now with Za'Darius and then having Pascal still under contract. So I think they'll want to get him back. But I think there's actually going to be there's going to be a lot of interest, I think, in Levi after the season. That'd be my guess. Okay, offensively, a couple things. First off, Dave Montgomery's incredible. So Dave Montgomery's averaging 3.34 yards after contact. I believe that's the stat so far this season at 13th in football. I'm going to show some pass protection stuff from David, too, because he has brought that to the table as well. Like, in this game in particular, the way he was pass protecting, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. But this has been like the little wrinkle, right? We've seen this motion stuff where, they're pulling like the backside, linebacker. They're kind of pausing those guys. And they did that in this game too. Or, like in this case, they step them inside to go hit that backside linebacker to kind of open up the cutback lane. We've seen them do it with Zeitler. Instead of asking Zeitler to get up to the next level, they kind of utilize the tight end. So in this case, they do it with Khalif, like on the backside of an outside zone to then have Khalif go hit the linebacker and he creates the cutback lane. Like, that's kind of it's one of the wrinkles we've started to see the last few weeks the Lions have within their rushing attack. And it's been a really fun wrinkle to watch. Is just that little addition. And then the jump cuts here from David Montgomery. This drive, he took over the game to start off with. Well, just watch this run. This run was incredible. I was like, I got to get this one in here. This run's insane. I don't know how much David Montgomery weighs, but he looked like he about 225, you know what I mean? Somewhere, maybe even more. Like that, maybe 220. Like he's a pretty big back. This is insane. I'm watching this. Like the footwork on this is crazy. Footwork is crazy. I mean, Grant Glasgow loses the play side block, so he's forced to cut back immediately. The good thing is the backside's handling business, so it's kind of like we talked about. So they utilize, if we go back a little bit here, they utilize the same thing, right? They kind of reach with Zeitler. Zeitler does his thing. Sewell off the edge kind of seals it. He used like that hand fighting, slaps his man down. Love that. And then they use Laporta to kick up to the backer, who's, these guys, we talk about, they're aggressive downhill. They scrape fast. Like, they got some athletes at backer. So instead of trying to overdo it and, like, all right, let's fight fire with fires. Let's see if our linebackers can go play. Like, that's dumb, right? Like, that's why I think coming in, we talked about the trap runs. We talked about, like, the gap scheme, which they utilize on the sweeps. That makes sense, right? This team wants to get upfield. They want to shoot gaps. They want to get downhill. They're athletes. So instead of fighting fire with fire, right, they're using their athletes to do the same thing. And, they use their offensive line to create the lanes, and then they use their tight ends and the receivers to kind of hit the backers. That's what it felt like a lot of this game was. The trap runs, the sweeps, and even zone plays like this. Like Laporta, let's let Laporta get up there. But this run is ridiculous for Montgomery. It's ridiculous. I mean, I've seen that. Like this dude, I remember he told Scotty he weighed 236 when he was mic'd up. Dang, 236? That dude's legitimately a linebacker. And that's the thing. He's moving, and he's not big, though, either. He's like 5'8". And that's the thing, too, though. If he weighs 230, let's say he weighs 230, bro, he moves way better than linebackers do, which I guess makes sense as to why he looks like that. Because linebackers don't move like that. You know what I mean? Well, linebackers look a little heavy-footed in comparison to that. Staying on the offense, let me get to my right notes. Now, this one was nice, too, because, you got your free safety here, McKinney, and we knew coming in, like, McKinney was Mr. Interception. I thought we'd throw a pick in this game. We didn't, which is fantastic. Good thing is we didn't really live in those situations where we had to throw the football. But a couple of things, man. So, we talked about coming in, throwing the ball on first down, and one of the big reasons for me for saying throw the ball heavy on first down. Now, the weather, I think, had a lot to do with that, and the Lions came out and kind of didn't do that. But as the game got into, like, drive 2 and beyond, it was like, yeah, we're going to throw the ball on first down. Like, that's the strategy. And so I thought they followed that strategy. And then they ran the ball in second and third down, even in fourth down, which I thought was a fantastic strategy just because, and you'll see it in here, like the diversity of what the Packers are when they know you have to throw the football or it's in a passing down and all the movement that they have in the back end. They're super smart in the back end. I thought the Lions had some they didn't overcomplicate it like with bunch sets and confuse themselves. They really simplified it with how they kind of forced Green Bay to play man coverage, and they locked man rather than being able to play like, let's play the point and let's sort it out, or let's play inside outside. Like, they really forced Green Bay to lock their man coverage based on their spacing. So I thought they did a nice job of not overcomplicating it, and one of the best ways to do that was throw the ball on first down, because if you saw the preview on Saturday, like, this is a team that on first down typically is going to run a lot more single high safety. A lot of cover 3 looks, which we got a ton. Even from our own end zone, we threw the ball. And on top of that, they also blitz a lot less. So you may get some simulated pressure, but you're going to get a lot less straight blitzing, right? You're going to get a lot less of that. And even on a play like this, see how Edgerrin Cooper drops out? You're not even getting blitzes here. So it opens opportunities to throw the ball on first down, which was fantastic. I love that they leaned into that really once they got past the first drive. But this pass, and I hate that I have the wrong angle here. Maybe I have the second angle. Hopefully we do. The big thing is Goff's eyes, good pocket. He held McKinney for a second here. The ball came out like, yeah, it didn't come out pretty. That's for sure. It definitely did not come out pretty. But the key was like, hey, move the quarterback. And on top of that, with what they're in defensively, coverage-wise, like, this is kind of like your one-on-one. Who's going to win? Coming in, it was like, St. Brown I thought would have a big day. He did, but that's always super predictable. But it was Sam Laporta. Sam Laporta was, to me, the answer. Now, I thought Jair was going to play, so it changed it up a little bit. I thought Sam Laporta would be an answer because it wasn't as much of you're going to create broken coverages. You know what I mean? And you'll see that with a lot of these. There's not a lot of broken coverages. Think about the touchdown that we threw to St. Brown. That was not broken coverage. They were all over him. That was actually great coverage. It's hard to break down this Packers secondary. I think that's the thing that you start to notice with the team, and that's why they're so good, is because even when they're not complex, they're sound in the back end. They may not have the best corners, but they're sound. They just don't break down that often. And I think that's what this was. It's like, hey, who's going to go win then? And in this case, it was Stokes on Laporta, and Laporta just won. You got a tight end beating a cornerback, and that's what this one was. I think there's a second view to this one. There should be a second view. Let's let it play. Yeah, this is a second view. This actually gives you a better perspective. So right here, you'll see Goff's heads move right here, so he looks right. Also, shout out to Glasgow for picking this thing up. Looks right, and you can see McKinney kind of like hesitates rather than driving on this dig route, and that's when the ball comes out, and he creates just enough space, and then Laporta goes out there and makes the play. Yeah, Laporta's made some key grabs. I mean, the grab he had against Minnesota where he kind of scooped it off the turf, that was incredible. When we've went to him, he's come down with it, that's all that matters. You know what I mean? And I think that's even harder for a guy like Laporta to not have like 8 targets. When you get 2, you got to catch those two. Like those two become even more important. So yeah, he's a great player, and this is what I'm talking about. This is like one of the run plays. So this is Isaiah Oliver, and you're gonna see that they're going to completely seal him up with the tight end here. Branch is going to go outside. He's in the D gap, right? A gap, B gap, C gap, D gap. He's going to get completely sealed off here by a tight end. And this is where we just need help. You know, this is another area where we need a guy auxiliaries. We needed a little bit more juice. Getting Pascal back. We need Wingo back. We need help. Because this kind of thing, you're like, why does this pop? Well, you can't get sealed up by a tight end, man. And that's, you know, shoots a big run. Now, defensively, this was not, you know, the perfect game in coverage. But we did the show yesterday with Lions Nation Unite. Shout out to Herman. I was on there with H-Man, and we were breaking it down. He was telling me about his thoughts on Terrion and all those things. After we got off, we chatted for a while, man. We talked for a minute, and we talked about, and I told him about my thoughts on the whole man coverage situation. I think we boiled it down. We were both kind of on the same page, right? How the league is different. You know, he gave me his thoughts, tips that I never even thought about because, you know, he played in a different era. But it was really like, hey, in the NFL, like the way I view it, and I think this is becoming more and more like my mindset. You know, we talked about coming into the year how like, okay, if you can play man, it's like your run game. And Dan Campbell told us that. I think the more and more I think about it, the more I believe that the idea of playing man coverage is going to be like the next thing. You know, like it was two deep safeties and everybody's like, let's run the football. It's like, oh man, you can run the football. And I still think that's true. Like the Lions have had old school drafts. Like let's take a linebacker round one and a running back round one. You're like, what are we doing? What year is this? But it's different than everybody. And it's kind of a problem. And now everybody's like, oh, it does make sense. Like I feel like they were ahead of something there. But defensively, this has always been what Glenn's wanted to do. Is play man. Since he's gotten here, he's always wanted to play a lot of man coverage. Always been that guy. He's always been aggressive, always trusted his players. Now, that doesn't mean that every play we play man coverage, because that doesn't make any sense. And you'll see that in here. Like, we played a lot of cover 4, and I felt like the mindset coming in was very similar to Houston, who we're about to see. Houston, I think, in a lot of ways, kind of laid a blueprint against Green Bay, at least from what I've seen, because Houston said, we're not giving you the big shot play, the most part. And I'd love to get one on the sideline, but we're going to make it really difficult for you to get a shot play. You're going to have to work for everything. You're going to have to methodically work your way down the field. And I thought that gave Green Bay problems because they weren't giving them the big swing, which is kind of the offset balance for Jordan Love, which is the difference between he'll give you the big play and he'll give you some bad plays, but at least he's going to give you the big plays and that can make up for it. They were doing everything they could to not give up that big play. And we saw the interception. What was it? It was cover 1. He missed the pass. They brought the blitz, overthrew it, threw a pick. So there's that balancing act. But this idea of what we're seeing with this man coverage, and you're going to see it on a few different clips here, it's not that everybody has to win. It's just that you can't have a liability where the other team can go out there and say, hey, we know it's man, and we know that this guy is not going to cover. You know what I mean? Like, we know that matchup, we're going to win that. So we're just going to throw to him. And I think that is to me the big thing here that you notice. Like when Rakestraw first came in, think about it. When Enos Rakestraw first came in this game, the very first play, what did Green Bay do? They took a shot at him. I think it was 4th and 6. 3rd and 6, 4th and 6. Took a shot, slot fade, and they got the first down. Now, it was covered well, but as soon as he came in, he said, that's what we're going at. It's man, we're going to that guy. And it's like, that's how teams approach it. And for the most part, NFL teams can't do that. Nobody has 2 good cornerbacks. Like, let's be real, nobody has it. The Jets have it, and that's kind of it. And the Jets have been one of the best defenses in football because of that. I always thought forever New England had that. Like, yo, New England, guys just can't get open. You know what I mean? Like, we played New England a couple years ago. We just couldn't get open. It's like, we don't have answers. And I think that a team like Green Bay, and I was telling this to H-Man, I don't want to say that we exposed Green Bay because I don't think we exposed Green Bay. And I think they left plays out there that in better conditions, they potentially get some shots. And I don't think that our coverage is at that level right now with some of the youth of Terrion and things like that where we just shut down teams. But I think what we did is we took a receiving core in Green Bay that's gotten a lot of buzz, a lot of hype, that was destroying the NFL, right? Because they were so deep, and he had a really good quarterback, and he had a really good pass protection, right? You took a team that had those things that in today's NFL could just dice up pretty much everybody that they saw. And we saw it in a small glimpse last time we played Green Bay on Thanksgiving, man versus zone. Basically did nothing against our man, 50% complete percentage zone. They were basically perfect. And we went into this game and said, hey, we're not going to give a big play, but when we play man, the difference is now you have to find a guy that can win. And the Lions right now, number one, they don't have a clear liability. So occasionally some guy will get beat. And I think right now the guy that teams are going to attack is Terrion. We saw that against Tennessee. But we don't have like a full-on liability where it's like you can just go out and throw the ball to that guy. We don't have that. And number two, we have ridiculous flexibility. We're going to show a clip later. I'm going to get to this. I apologize. We have ridiculous flexibility, right? Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch. Kirby's taken off as a cover corner. Brian Branch, we saw him in the red zone. He's supernatural as a man cover corner, as a safety that can just step down and play coverage. And then at linebacker, Alex is one of the best coverage linebackers. You have Jack Campbell, that is now kind of filling into his role, being like the zone backer that's playing really fast in those spots. Like, you have the ingredients to be one of those unique teams that NFL teams just don't really see anymore. And I think that's where when we struggle the most, we've had to deal with that. And I think that's what we saw in a game like this. Like, so when I look, it's not that everybody has to cover up everybody on every play for it not to be a completion. You just have to cover the guy that the quarterback's looking to. If you cover that guy, and maybe you cover the second guy that he looks to, that third guy can get beat. But if you have a liability and they can anticipate who they're going to go at, then that's where the problem occurs. And I don't think the Lions have that, which is making them so unique. So I see a play like this, and, we see Terrion, and it's like, okay, it's been up and down. We know he's not getting flagged anymore, which is great. But also, where is Terrion having his issues? He's having his issues at the line of scrimmage, right? He's having his issues early in reps. He's getting a little bit off balance. He's getting a little bit overly aggressive in those press spots. He's letting guys cross his face on some slants. But in his off coverage stuff, this anticipation stuff, in terms of just not, his immediate reaction is no longer grab. Like, just weeks into a season, it went from every time at the top route, I'm going to grab the guy, to now just like, let me position myself. And watch this example right here. Watch him step in front of this receiver, right? So he's inside leverage, and we got this vertical push from receiver. He's going to stick inside and then break back outside. Terrion, who's sitting inside leverage, who gets pressed on his inside leverage, steps on top of the route right here, bam, and cuts it off. So there's still contact, but instead of saying, I'm going to grab you so that I can stick with you, he uses his footwork to just position himself on top of the route. And there's still things that I think needs work there. I'll show one later. But that's where, to me, Terrion, like, in just weeks, that's why we're seeing less flags. Because he's not relying on, I got to grab. He's relying on, I'm going to position myself then. Press is going to need work. That takes time. He's a safety to cornerback. It's going to take time. Understandable. But that kind of thing right there, man, he's taken big strides already. And then obviously outside of that, like, Carlton's been he's been everything for us. Like, Romeo Doubs was their number one, and he didn't really do anything in this game. Carlton Davis' ability to recover, the flexibility is insane. And then obviously look at Amik, man. Amik's in Christian Watson's hip all the way down the field. He's all over him. You get some pressure here from Levi, as we touched on, a little bit of James Houston too. Houston carbon copy of the Niners. And man, yeah, last year, like, we utilized all those pin pull looks. Made them chase. I think the Texans lost a lot at backer too. Like, they don't have what they had last year. They had the guy like Blake Cashman was so big for them there. They don't have that anymore. I mean, that's the thing, is I think that's kind of the answer for everybody in a lot of ways. Like, run the football. Like it gets pretty much everybody. I think our answer will come back to in some way run the football. But yeah, like, probably a lot of that outside stuff again. Probably. But the other thing too is their interior is kind of shaky personnel wise. They traded away one of their interior guys today. That's definitely not their strength. Edge is definitely their strength. So that'll be something. So yeah, those pin pulls get outside of the edge rushers, right? Like, where it's like kind of erase them and play around them, or play inside of them. You know what I mean? Let's stay on offense here though, because I don't even know what this play is, to be honest with you. This was the trap play. So this led to the 3 and out, and this was we try to trap. You wonder what happens on some of these plays because they happen fast, so I thought I'd throw it in here. Taylor Decker kind of tripped right here, trying to get up to McDuffie, and you pick up like a yard, and they end up going third down. And here's the third down play that we got sacked on. Like, Sewell had a stink. No, it's all good, Shane. I appreciate you joining. Watch this, though, because this is what I liked. And we saw good examples. I'll show one at the end where we got St. Brown, like, open. I don't know if I put that in. I hope I put it in here, but it was great. I was like, oh, that was awesome, Lions. Watch this one, though. So, defensively, right, we knew that they would play cover 1 on third down, right? That's usually what they do. They would kind of rotate between that, like a Tampa 2 on third down. So they go cover 1 here. And you can get that tell with the motion. That being said, though, if you look at how they're playing this, the one question was, okay, but who was going to be their free defender? Who was, in this case, the rat defender, which is Quay Walker. But look at this little answer. So number one, the Lions are not bunching it up pre-snap. They're spacing here. We wouldn't even call this a stack, but it's a little bit closer to a stack, right? 1, 2 right here. So you're not bunching it where it's like they can play the bunch differently, and it's like, well, if they play it one way and we have the wrong answer for it, then maybe nobody gets open. Instead of doing that, I feel like they kind of simplified it by keeping spacing, right? But using the motion to bring the spacing together. And in this play, while this one we get sacked, you're going to see Khalif opens up over the middle. And man, I'll say this. Khalif Raymond, he didn't really get the ball in this game, but there was like 3 times where he could have gotten the football. Khalif Raymond's a separator. I think going back to, year one, it was like, okay, who's the guys that can beat man? I remember talking about that all the time. And Khalif Raymond kind of was then. Khalif Raymond still is. He's the guy that can beat man coverage when we need somebody that can. Keep an eye on him. I don't think Goff played great in this game, to be honest with you. I mean, I think he's doing the little things well, but I don't think this was a great game for Goff. Conditions had a lot to do with that. Missed a couple throws, missed a couple reads, in my opinion. This one, not this one, but just in general. That being said, though, like you get this motion here from Saint, so now you clump them together at the snap, and a play like this, they utilize Saint with that short motion to then sit down right here, right? So the backer steps over, he sits down. So now you open the second level because you take the rat backer out of the play versus like we saw earlier this season where the Lions had one where they kind of ran the 2 over routes like right on top of each other, and one guy stepped in between and Goff didn't have anywhere to throw it because nobody cleared. Instead of being able to play in between both, they just use Saint to attack, and then he sits himself down. Now you pull the backer, and now it turns into a one-on-one here with Khalif Raymond. And Khalif Raymond would have separated. He would have been open right there, but it just so happened that Goff got sacked on the play. That, to me, and we'll see it expanded more. I think I have a later clip that was even better. But that was something I thought the Lions were doing in this game real well. It was not overcomplicating the bunches and trying to get guys wide open. It was more so about like creating matchups. And I think that's truly what we saw in this one is that they just found a way to create matchup. Now watch this 2-play sequence. Watch this. First play here. Again, throw the ball on first down. And on top of that, Lions were a lot of times doing this out of jumbo package, which was great because you really thought they were going to run the ball. But okay, I said that the middle of the field would be open. Like you can get the middle of the field open on these guys. Well, credit to them here because you go play action and here they cover it well, right? They're back in that cover 3 look again, which is what they do on first down. They're much more predictable on first down. That's why you had to throw on first down because you could find windows because they're predictable. And they're not blitzing again, 4-man rush. So Goff has time here. So this is why you had to throw it on first down. Regardless of the rain, you had to throw it, and they did. But watch how this is covered. So flat defender takes away Brock, right? Your hook curl linebacker deals with the flood concept, right? So they go flat, they go out, they go vertical. He deals with that. He steps over. Goff tries to use his eyes to kind of try to pull him out of the play late here, even though you can't really see him. And he steps underneath it. Goff doesn't like it. There's kind of an in-between game. So he's like, okay, I don't like that. Let me quickly get to my check down. But you notice how deep they're playing this? Watch the very next play. Watch the very next play. After them playing with all this depth, the very next play, Ben Johnson, different look, Tampa 2 this time, immediately like, all right, let's run a screen. They're dropping, but this is what I was talking about. This is being in the moment for Ben. Like, all right, they're gonna drop and get depth. Cool. We're gonna run this play action. Look at them drop out. I'm gonna run a screen then. If y'all want to go back then. Whatever. We're gonna run a screen. Look how far back he is. He's backed up 6 yards. I'm gonna throw a screen. Now, this one they get the first picked up 6 yards. I mean, look, Graham's walking. There's nobody near him, right? If anything, the edge rusher threw this off. That's it. But the linebackers didn't. This was a excellent timing call to me because it was like being in the moment of like just understanding like, oh, dude, did you see how far they just backed up? Just run a screen. Very next play. Let's just throw a screen. Where are they going? It's so ridiculous how Mahomes the MVP candidate. He's got like 10 picks. Goff has what, like 5? It is crazy. Yeah, it's weird because I think he's the favorite. I mean, I get the balance because like it's a future from like a betting perspective. It's a future thing. They're also undefeated, so I don't know. I get it because they wouldn't give it to anybody else on that team. You know what I'm saying? Like I get it. I don't know. Like he's definitely not the MVP. Like you have to give it to. Shoot, I would give it to Saquon before I give it to Mahomes at this point. He's definitely not the MVP. This is just a quick thing I thought I'd throw in here. When we got them into these obvious passing downs, now we had the interception. I didn't show it. I should have. I loved it because, it was the play where Alex showed blitz. They double A gap. He drops out at the snap. And you're like, oh, okay, they're dropping. But the one linebacker on the left guard side stays dropping. So the left guard's like, cool, I don't got to worry about nothing. Let me go help the left tackle. Then Alex blitzes, but he blitzes through the left guard spot. So now all of a sudden the left guard's late, can't pick it up. He throws an interception because there's pressure. Look at this. Like, even pre-snap, I haven't seen Aaron Glenn run a coverage like this season. I haven't seen anything like this. I don't even know, like, this is cover 6, but just the alignment is incredibly unique. So Aaron Glenn was getting in his bag. Like, we talked about how disguise would work against Love, and he forced so many checkdowns out of disguise. Now here, clearly protecting the big play. Like, it wasn't, because against cover 6, we had seen this season, like, oh man, you go cover 6, you know, they're gonna run this high low, and that's exactly what they run. They run the dig and they run the post, but you know, they're gonna put those safeties in conflict. Well, Terrion's playing so deep on this play that there's basically no conflict. Kirby gets over top of this one. So they cover it up, getting these obvious pass downs. But the point is Aaron Glenn was incredibly creative when it came to knowing they had to throw the football. This dude, like, he brought out some stuff. We were like, oh, okay, that could see how that'd be confusing. And then immediately to start the second half, you can play off what you've done in the first half now. You can build off of that. Offset eye, run fake, tunnel screen, we're picking up 11 yards. Nothing really crazy about it, but you get the linebacker to bite because, to me, when I think about establishing the run, that's truly what establishing the run is. And then the sweep runs. I wanted to show the sweep runs because this one popped, and we don't do this every week. Like, this matters because the Lions don't do the same thing every week. Like, to what you guys are saying, the pin pull looks, that kind of thing. This is what makes the Lions unique because we can say that and they can do it next week if they want to because they can do pretty much anything in the ground game. And they have the creativity. Now they're using tight ends, receivers, and they're all blocking their butts off. Like, to me, Sam Laporta in this game, the way that Laporta's blocking was insane. He's been doing this for weeks now. Laporta's run blocking is taking off. Like, he looks so good in his ability to sustain blocks. Tim Patrick stepped in. He was immediately a great blocker. Like, but to do things like this against this team where it's like, let's not overthink it. Let's wash down those defensive linemen. Let's get up to these linebackers, right? And let's sweep, right? So this gap style, that uniqueness that the Lions don't do every week that we had talked about in the preview, like they leaned into that. And then here offensively, again, it's very similar, right? First down, throw the ball on first down. That's exactly what they did. Throw the ball on first down. Let me, hold up 1 second. Okay, that's great. Yeah, I don't know what happened to that one. Anyways, throw the ball on first down. That's what they did. You had a jumbo package. You sold it. Laporta sat down, picked up the first down. Now, here we're going back to the run. Gibbs pops this one. But I think we can see Laporta here. Hold up. I don't know. I'm going to leave that one. I think that one was the Khalif Raymond one, but for whatever reason, here, give me 1 second, chat. I want to figure out why I can't go back. Okay, now I can go back. Okay, I don't know what that was. I was like, okay, I can't really do this if it. Here we go. This was the Khalif Raymond. Why is it doing this? I don't know. Anyways, they used Khalif Raymond on this jet look, and they were doing things like that pre-snap, like we talked about, to kind of delay the backside linebackers. Like, that's one of the wrinkles they've had. But watch Laporta here. This is what I was talking about. Look at Laporta. This is Laporta right here. Watch him block in the linebacker. Look at this. Everybody has Sustain, Zeitler. You're going inside zone here. But look at the block here from our tight end Laporta. Look at this. He's not going anywhere. And I'm watching this, like, the reason Gibbs can be patient and kind of pick around, like, I get that with offensive linemen. Laporta would not go in. He was latched to that dude. Like, Laporta's doing so much for us in that aspect specifically. Now, this play I didn't love. I didn't hate the design of it, right? They're going to try to run the pick play. There's a wheel route. Like I said, I didn't think this was Goff's best game. They're going to run this pick play, the wheel route. They get man coverage. They actually get a cover 0 look here, which is why the linebacker blitzes. The edge actually takes it. I think if this off-ball backer takes the running back, this might work better. But because the linebacker blitzes and the edge drops out to take Gibbs, Patrick sees it. I don't know if Gibbs does. I think he does. The guy that would have been open would have been Khalif from middle field because they went cover 0 and they dropped out their rat over here. The big thing for me would have been Gibbs with the run, like with the route. I would have liked to see Gibbs kind of run his man into the pick play a little bit more because Tim Patrick didn't go out of his way to try to like actually pick the defender because that would have been a flag. And we know that they're like clamping down on those, but I would have liked to see him like in basketball, if someone sets the screen, you got to like move the guy into the screen. You can't just set the screen. This ain't 2K. You got to set the screen up as the ball handler. And I feel like in this case, Jahmyr Gibbs didn't really set the screen up. He kind of just ran the wheel route. And, credit to the backer, like he saw the pick coming, so he kind of worked around it. And then Gibbs kind of changed pace, but not really. Like, I don't feel like there was much of a setup here from Gibbs. I don't know if that was because they blitzed, so he was like, I got to get out there incredibly fast. I mean, I guess maybe that's what it was. I maybe. I don't know. But I would have just, if anything, I'm fine with how fast he got out there. I would have just liked to see him maybe push this thing a little bit tighter towards Patrick, or maybe just kind of work upfield initially and then round it around to potentially try to kind of run that into Patrick a little bit more. But from a timing perspective, that'd be something that you'd have to practice. Like, you couldn't just do that on the fly, because you see when Goff is throwing this, it's all about timing here. And look, he's still separated a little bit late. The ball was just a little bit overthrown there. But regardless, I was like, I would like to see them set that up differently. And then, guys, come on, man. Come on, man. Like, this is, bro, they've done this so many, chat. They've done this now. They keep doing this to teams, man. Yo, they did this back with J-Mo's touchdown against Tampa. A couple weeks ago against Minnesota, they did this and scored a touchdown with Jahmyr Gibbs, just like they do here, where it's like they showed the motion right before the snap, and then Metellus turned, and they snap it, and Metellus isn't playing the run anymore, and he walked into the end zone. Watch what the Lions do here, man. They keep doing this stuff. Look at this. Goff at the snap. You see the quick, he gives the motion. He gives the motion signal. So there's actually a motion that's happening from the receiver position. They're going to sell the RPO because they kind of have it bunched up. As soon as he sets that motion, look at what the second level does. They start to fill gaps. As soon as he gives the motion, they start to show gaps right here. So off-ball backers, Edgerrin Cooper, everybody starts to kind of step down, show gaps. They snap it as soon as he sends the motion. And then all of a sudden, it's an easy cutback. But also, man, hey, how about our tight end? You know what I mean? Bro, I'm telling you, Sam Laporte is blocking now. They made that look too easy. That's the problem. Sam Laporte is blocking, though. All right, I like James Houston, bro. He was working. It just doesn't, it's not the spot. But how about Jack Campbell? Like, Jack Campbell has come on. I think he had maybe his best game, honestly, as a Lion against the run this season I've seen that I can remember. Maybe there's a better one. I just don't remember it. But, like, I wanted to highlight this play because this is weird. Chat, tell me if this doesn't look weird. You can't tell me this doesn't look weird. How does he have balance here? Watch Jack Campbell. He's going to get blocked by the receiver read. Okay, maybe not the biggest guy. But I'm looking at this like, oh, he's falling down. Like, he's probably going to fall. No. He somehow maintains balance out of this and then goes and makes a tackle. That's always been the weird thing about Campbell. I never understand it. The ability to just not ever, like, seemingly go on the ground is crazy. He's always had that weird skill set. I think it makes him so unique. That kind of stuff is just nuts. Like, I don't know what that is. Back to the defensive side, though, just to give more love to the man coverage and that ability, because I'm telling you guys, like, it's a big deal. It's a big deal, man. It's gonna matter. You could think about if you could do this against Kansas City, right? Like, now they have to find somebody that can go win. There's a reason they went out and got D-Hop and all these teams are adding a receiver, because not a lot of teams have that. Everybody's showing press here. Now, again, a little bit sluggish. I think that's been the issue with Terrion. He's sluggish getting out and transitioning. But the coverage across the board, like even Terrion, who undercuts this, which I do like. He gets beat vertically, but he undercuts it. But how about, okay, so Meek Robertson covers up this angle route really well. It's incomplete. Watch Carlton Davis here. There's the double move. Kind of bites on it. Then he retreats. I don't even know what he's doing here. He's in half turn. He retreats and he covers him up. It's a great coverage by Meek. And then Terrion recovers on this play. And that's the thing. Like, even though Terrion was beat, the ball isn't going there. So it's not like everybody has to plaster everybody. It's just you can't have a liability. Again, first down, throw the ball. Simple. They're simple. Their defense is simple on first down. It's cover 3, right? It's single high. This is simple cover. There's nothing dynamic about this at all. The only thing dynamic is that the Lions use the switch release to slow down the backers in zone. They switch release on both sides. Switch release, hitch, flat. They switch release. They create the window. Goff sees it. Boom, hits the window. Like, they've simplified it for themselves, and I think that's where Ben Johnson has that's where he's made a name for himself. And now to the point to me where I'm always looking for that is that Ben has just found a way to constantly simplify the game, it feels like. Now, I got to give love to David Montgomery because this pass was the yard short, right? I think they went into like their – bro, this is why they're tough. You can't even see it in the back end. They went like to an inverted cover 2 on 3rd and 6. We didn't have anybody for this. Now, he had St. Brown, and he was a yard short. It was close. A tight window throw here sitting over the middle. But watch Montgomery. This is incredible. This is insane. These are the little things. So we do come into this like, hey, Green Bay's going to stunt. Like, that's what they're really good at. They're really good at studying their D-line and getting pressure out of that. Watch Dave Montgomery pick up Kenny Clark one-on-one and halt his pass rush. Watch this. This shouldn't happen. This is not supposed to work like this. There's the stunt. Now he's going to work around. Okay, one-on-one with the running back. That's a W. No. And this, a little bit more help from the right guard there. Yeah, a little more help there. And then obviously the block here with Sewell and the stunt kind of got him into trouble. But I show this example, and keep on, this is not the only example. There was even a better one later in the game. Montgomery picking up the blitz has been big for us. It's been very helpful. Staying with the man coverage thing. This time now Kirby's playing man on the receiver. So again, you can play too deep. Like, oh, okay, is this too deep? Is this zone? No, it's still man coverage. You just put Kirby in that spot. And again, guys get beat here. You get this little pick. You get the little drag, and they kind of go late to that. Carlton's crazy. I don't understand the body control here. Carlton's ability to just kind of stop himself while in motion is weird. He's got the best control and balance. He's super long. We know that. You're going to see one of his fast breakups. Okay, a couple more things before we get out of here. So first off, Terrion Arnold, man. I understand it. You're on the field side. You're going cover 4, as we talked about, like they were doing, not getting up the big plays. So maybe the talk was hey, don't get beat on a double move. We can't give up the big play. We're up multiple scores. Do not be overly aggressive. Maybe that was a conversation. If it was, I got you. It makes a lot of sense. But I still can't help but look at this and be like, man, Terrion, if you're just this is why I thought Terrion would get a pick in this game. I thought somebody would get a pick at corner. But it's because I thought they'd play this coverage, and they did, where they'd have the chance to plant drive on the football. But it's watch Carlton. Now, he's on the boundary, but watch Carlton play this, and he doesn't even have anything to read here. He's just reading through the receiver. Watch Carlton play this on the top of the screen, how he drives before the out route is even happening, where if the ball's thrown there, he's taking that back. Same thing with the screen that he broke on, versus Terrion Arnold, who transitions really nicely, but there's no anticipation of the concept. And he transitions well. It's a medium gain. What I do like, though, is that we come back. Now he's on the boundary side, and I still want to see this be more, but I do like how this improved. Watch him this time. Same concept. Look at him. A little more aggressive, on his toes. You're seeing him play through the receiver here. It's a much quicker transition. He drives on this, and Love has to get away from it. That's where I thought we'd get a pick because of something like that, but it's still improvement throughout the game, which I could definitely work with. And then I don't know what Jalen's doing on this play, to be completely honest with you, because he has to get from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. If we had any kind of edge pressure, Houston, kind of spilled him, I guess. I don't know. He fell down. But I don't know what Jalen's doing. He's kind of just floating around here. I don't know what he's doing. That's why we gave the first down there. I still don't know if he even caught that. And then this one where, look, man, we give it the big play, but you got to watch this and still be like, man, that's pretty impressive. They put Reed in the backfield as a running back in split backs, and the lines are going man here, but they're switching it off. So Amik switches it off in the backfield to Alex, and Amik's going to take the running back opposite. Now, Kirby Joseph, who has the tight end, doesn't have anybody to switch this to because your zone linebacker is Jack Campbell. So Jack Campbell's not going to pass this off, unless that was maybe their thing, is hey, pass it off, then you become the zone player. Doesn't look like that was the call, or that's what they were doing. So, that's why this gets open. And Tucker Kraft gets open. It was a nice setup. There's a lot of misdirection here. Jack sees it, and you can see him kind of pointed out hey, hold up. Who's got this guy? But I will say, look at Alex Anzalone. Alex is picking up a receiver out of the backfield running a wheel route. Watch Alex in coverage here. Turn around with this guy. Bro, what are we talking about now? That's why they're dangerous, because this isn't just a secondary thing. That's why this could be dangerous, man. Alex is running with Jaden Reed down the field. I'm watching that's not supposed to happen. That's supposed to be thrown. Alex's coverage it's shining right now, man. He is shining in coverage. And then offensively, this would have been the one of the reads that I didn't love from Goff. I felt like he had a chance to maybe give us a shot here. And I can understand it, right? Again, this is why you didn't want to get in these spots, and we did such a nice job of throwing on early downs, avoiding all of this, whatever this is supposed to look like. You know what I mean? We're showing blitz, we're stacking up line of scrimmage. Don't even know what coverage this is, right? Your two safeties are right here, right? You got a middle field safety, and he's actually going to become the Tampa 2 linebacker on the play, and he's going to invert it. So it's okay, this is a weird, unique coverage, but this is what they do. Now, Tampa 2 was their tendency, but it's just the way that they set it up. But I understand what Goff was doing, and I don't get on for the incomplete pass because I get it. You sat him down, and he moved late on the play. That's why it was incomplete. And I could see that if he's trying to move McKinney with his eyes early, and he's yo, if I can get McKinney to just move this way a little bit, I'll throw this dig route to St. Brown right in, but I could pull him back for the first down because they need a little chunk here. They need 8 yards. And I get that. Like, McKinney didn't really move that much. You could see the discipline. He didn't get the move it from McKinney. He didn't have him turn and find anybody up the seam. He didn't do that. He was disciplined. So Goff was like, all right, I don't love that. And then he felt some pressure from Frank, but Frank recovered and picked it up. But right here, like, that would have been the spot, like if you could have just like settled yourself and be like, hey, there's no pressure. I get why he got it out. I don't have an issue with it. Like, protect the football, like my man, The Truth said. But if this is one where you could like see this and be like, hey, we're doing the same high-low thing. Like, we have this guy driving. This could be a shot to go over top to Khalif Raymond. And if we look at this, maybe we could get that opportunity. But in the conditions with the score, I get it. I'm not mad at how the result was necessarily. I just felt like that one, there was more on the bone potentially there, what we could have tried to pick at versus what we ultimately did. So I just don't like seeing stuff like that feels like very left out there versus that, because to me, Goff's better than that. And if that's simply the gaming situation, I got no problem with it. But I think Goff is better than this, than doing this. And I get he felt it, but I feel like once he moved, you kind of knew there wasn't pressure anymore. Like, this could have been an opportunity to just see, because we saw against Tennessee when he took a sack, he was going to take a shot. He just took a sack. He's better than that. And then as we kind of wrap this up defensively, like, oh, there was a little James Houston pressure there. I'm not actually sure why I put this clip in here. I'm not even going to lie. James Houston got some pressure. Maybe that's why I did it. You know what I mean? Oh, Terrian got beat on this play. Again, he's sluggish opening up. He'll get faster. He'll get faster. My man said Lions by 20 in the Super Bowl. I ain't even mad at you for that. I'm not mad at you, man. We should be having, a good time. All right, I got to show this one. Bro, before we end all that, guys, can we just pause for a second? Let's just pause. Carlton Davis is great. It is amazing having Carlton Davis. Watch Carlton one-on-one here. Like, this is... I love this dude. Watch this, bro. Watch him off the release. There's, like, no overreaction. He's playing pedal here. He's going to pedal, stay on top of it. Pedal, pedal. Pedal. There's no, like, real inside-outside press by the receiver. It's not a great release package. Kind of just walks him upfield. So he's patient. Pedals with him. Gets his hand in his chest. Transitions. Finds his hip. Not grabbing. Rides him to the sideline. Look at the timing with the hands. Like, bro, what are you supposed to do with that? Like, as a receiver, like, you could throw the ball in the perfect spot. He's still probably not catching that. There's not much you can do with this. As well as they execute, there's really not a lot you can do with this. You get your one-on-one, and Carlton is just like, yeah, he's not open. Now, there were other guys that were open with Kirby Joseph stepping out on the tight end. And Terrian actually covers up Romeo Doubs really well here on the curl route. Like again, the top of the route. Look at Terrian at the top of the route, man. He gets a clean jam this time, so he gets that good contact, so it's a lot less sluggish. That becomes the issue is when he just tries to open with guys. I think he gets late and he starts to get into like recovery mode. Here, when he gets a nice jam and kind of rocks him off his route, and then he opens with him, now he's in a better spot with it. And then obviously you can see where he regains connection, settles down on the route. That's great. But man, Carlton Davis is a problem. And also, Aleem McNeil said coming in, Aleem was awesome. Give him credit, bro, because a lot of talks about the edge rusher position. Bro, when you say a guy has to step up and he gives you 7 pressures, you have to take note of that. And I thought I had him with like 9 plays where he was impactful. He cooks the right guard here. I didn't show nearly enough plays of what he actually did in this game, but he was big time. And like I said, this is the thing. When you play man, they're trying to find matchups. This was not bad coverage for me by Rakestraw. This is actually really good coverage. It's great late hands. Makes an excellent play on the football. And then the last clip here, which is plays just going on too long. This is why we needed edge rusher help, though. Like, if there is a reason like why you needed it, this is probably example number 1. Yeah, this is a problem. The play is not supposed to go that long. That's what I'll say. The play is supposed to be over. All right, last play. I'm sorry. This is the last play. This is awesome. So we showed the play earlier where like we kind of sat down Saint and the linebacker took him and the second level would have been there. Watch this. Again, look at the spacing. It's the same setup. It's the exact same setup. So you're not bunching it. You're not creating like, oh, well, they can play it like this. And then, well, if we try this and they play it inside outside, that might not be there if they play it this way. Instead of trying to decipher all that, it's like, let's simplify it. Let's create spacing. Let's use the short motion to clump everybody together. We know they're playing man, and let's keep them locked because we don't bunch them pre-snap. Because once you bunch pre-snap, defense could be like, let's do this, let's do this. But if you space it and now you motion, they don't have time to communicate that. Like, we're playing locked man. They simplified Green Bay's defense into you're playing man, but you have to lock it. There is no, well, you're actually going to take the outside release and then I'm going to step down and take St. Like, no, bro, you're locked up in man coverage. And you see it right here because of that. They're locked in man coverage. So then the Lions, after simplifying it, say, okay, they're going to lock it. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to use Khalif as the pick. So we're going to create natural leverage. We're going to walk Khalif out the field. Saint, you're just going to kind of settle them behind him, and it's an easy first down. That's that's like the one example you could take that if you just run a really easily kind of look at what Ben Johnson does for this team. It's just kind of things like that. Like simplify the heck out of it, right? From a tendency perspective to just a play like this. We're not making it harder than it has to be. This is way too easy. It's way too easy, man. And that's what they do. And he got a first down. I love it, man. I absolutely love it. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Again, we're going to give a shout to BetUS here. YouTube 150. That's the promo code before we get out of here, man. Any thoughts on this game? Throw them in the chat right now. Any thoughts on the trade deadline? I see the one that said we should have gotten, man, Marshall Lattimore went for a lot. If it was like a sixth or something, I could have kind of rolled with you. What he actually went for, I would have struggled with giving up that much. Just because he's never healthy. Like, I actually thought for the Saints it was a fine trade. He's never healthy, and they've kind of just made it work without him. He's a good corner. I don't think he's elite, but I don't hate the idea on paper, honestly. Like, if this was a video game, I wouldn't have had any problem with it if, like, we're really playing man coverage like this. But, like, clearly they want Terrion to become that guy, and the hope is, hopefully, in another half of the season, by the time we get there, like, he'll be a lot cleaner in some of these aspects, and he'll continue to just get better and better. But if you went for less, I could have seen that. But I think he just went for too much. And then obviously he's locked up for multiple seasons, so that's not even a rental. That's like which is why he went for what he went for. But that's a, you know what I mean? That's a long-term guy. So YouTube 150, that's promo code, 150% deposit match on your first deposit, 125% on your next two. We got the early lines here. Lions, Texans, it is a 3.5-point spread. Lions favorites on the road. But I think that could be low scoring, so I don't know if I love that one. Here's one that I placed a bet on earlier. I like this one. Baltimore Ravens. I think the Ravens win the football game. I think Cincinnati keeps it closer than 6. That thing went to overtime last time. They need this. Now, they're on the road, so I get it. But to me, this is the one that intrigues me, man. So if I bet at $20, I could win 18-18. I'm going to place that bet. I've already did this once. I'll place it again. I like this game staying close on Thursday Night Football on a short week. The Bengals need it, and they're scoring a lot of points. This feels like it could be an old-fashioned shootout. So maybe like they see a touchdown difference. I think it ends up being really close. So if you want to get on that YouTube 150, that is the promo code. Shout out to BetUS. And also, link in the description right now, man. It's in there. If it's not there, refresh your page. Go get yourself a Green Bay Sucks shirt. All right, go get yourself a Green Bay Sucks shirt. I'm telling you, this quality is incredible. It's absolutely incredible. It's soft, man. I'm not lying to y'all. Like, I would be, this is, I've wore this all day. It's super hot in here, but it's just that comfortable. So if y'all want to get one, man, I mean, you should, to be honest. Like, bro, as soon as I saw that, I was like, well, I got to get one of those. And I hit him up, and I was like, yo, do we have these? And they're like, we got these. We got these. Let's get one sent over. I'm like, all right, let's do it. Man, I wore this thing to vote today, chat. And you know what? You know what the first person said to me when I got in there? They said, Green Bay doesn't suck. I was like, oh my goodness. They said, Green Bay doesn't suck. And then I don't know how the conversation like very quickly turned into like, I'm not a Green Bay fan, but there was a weird transition. And I was like, okay, so, do you want a sweatshirt too? We may have made a sale right there. I don't know. But if y'all want one, it's in the description. Davis is a beast. 100%. Let me make sure I didn't miss on any of my notes here before we get out of here. I appreciate y'all joining me. I know it's late. I don't know that I can get this video out tomorrow. We got our weekly picks tomorrow. We got another show after that on Bleacher Report. I got to get my hair cut tomorrow. I know that. Thank goodness. But we got like shows lined up tomorrow. We got the round table right after that, bro. So we are booked like crazy. I'm booked like crazy tomorrow. So I wanted to make sure I got this out somehow, some way. So shout out to y'all for joining, man. Monty's great. Levi's underrated. This defense is a problem. Glenn has the pieces for it. That is for sure. I think a lot of the things that we showed is kind of what I wanted to hit on. So I think we did our thing there. Trade deadline was nuts today. A lot of action. But yeah, the edge rusher market wasn't as active as I thought it might be. But I'm glad we got Za'Darius and we got out. That just felt like a get it in and get out. Stop playing with him. Don't kind of just grab somebody. Let's get a legit player and let's keep it moving. And that's what it felt like. And we saw like that one run play. My goodness, did we need that? Holy. So I'm happy that went down. Yeah, I think we can leave it there, man. I think we hit on everything. I don't need to roll this on too long. Man, I should not be drinking this at 12:40 a.m. That's a terrible decision, by the way. I don't recommend anybody drink tea at 12:40 a.m. Don't know why I'm doing that, to be honest. It tastes good, but I'm not thinking. Yeah, I think we're good, man. I think we can get out of here. Shout out to you, BetUS. Get yourself a sweatshirt, YouTube 150. That's the promo code for BetUS. And if I didn't miss anything else, man, I think we're good. Join me tomorrow. I think it's 11. That doesn't sound right. It might be noon. Hold on, let me double check. It's either 11 or noon is our weekly picks tomorrow. 11 doesn't sound right. That sounds way too early. Let me double check before I get out of here because we got 4 shows. I got 3 shows. 4 p.m. Eastern time. We're doing a Lions show on Bleacher Report for 30 minutes. So if y'all just want content, man, 4:30 or no 4 o'clock to 4:30. I'm gonna be live over. I don't know what the topic's gonna be yet. If you guys got any ideas, send them to me on X. I got to come up with something. I'll come up with something, but I don't know. We'll see. I'll have to come up with something. And then tomorrow the weekly pick show where we pick every game. Oh, it is 11. It's 11 Eastern time. Okay, 11 Eastern time is our weekly pick. So 11, 4, and then 6, we have a round table. A lot of stuff going on. Join us for that. I see Patrick in the building. It just says Lions. I don't know. Did you post an emoji? Is that what that is? That's probably an emoji. I see you, man. Appreciate y'all joining, man. Have a great night. I will see y'all tomorrow. Hopefully, join me because we might not be over here. And hopefully, I'll get a Za'Darius Smith breakdown video out at some point this week. That's the goal. That's the goal, man. That's the goal. But yeah, we out. Have a great night.